This is Scarlett speaking for 24/7 Lifestyle. And today we have the pleasure of speaking to Ant Thomaz regarding his new single, Good Times Roll. Ant, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Brilliant, really good, thank you. So to start us off, for viewers that might be discovering you for the first time, tell us a bit about yourself.
I'm a Glasgow-based singer-songwriter and musician, and yeah, I've been doing music for a good wee bit. This is my first solo album I'm putting out in March, and this is the lead single from it called "Good Times Roll."
Brilliant, cool. So, what do you feel is most important for people to know about your music?
Uh, I free write, so it's not really. I don't write it to like, I guess, not to impress people. I guess I just write it because it's something I always loved to do since I was 11 or 12.
Yeah, definitely. So, obviously, you've lived in multiple different places. Do you feel that both of those elements show up in your music?
I think it does. Yeah, yeah. As a kid growing up in a Cajun community, and then in a young adult growing up in a Scottish community, you kind of like
Yeah,
you kind of learn how to just fuse it together. But it's not like you're trying to do it. I think it's just who you grow to be.
do you feel like it's quite two different opposing sides of influence that go into your music?
I think so. What do you mean by that?
Well, obviously, you know, two very different types of backgrounds, two very different places that you live in. Do you feel like
Mhm.
they ever conflict, or do you feel like they blend quite well together?
I think they blend quite well together. They're really similar in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
They come from the same place. They come from the folk scene, and
yeah,
they come from the Cayley. Like a Zydeco and a Cayley would be very similar.
yeah, definitely. So do you remember the first moment that you realized music was something that you needed to do and kind of not just what you wanted to do, where you felt like it was your passion?
I always knew it was my passion. Not so much music, maybe more like words, like
Yeah,
poetry. And then
yeah.
music came way later. I think music came like in my late teens.
So what changed, what shifted so that music started to become something that you became more interested in?
I think friends,
Yeah,
just yeah, just friends, just doing it with friends, just like playing around with friends, writing stuff with friends, out of the fun of it, parties,
yeah,
parties,
definitely.
just yeah, just winging it, and then realizing that when you play your first gig, it's like, oh wow, this is actually something I can do, you know?
Yeah. So do you find that words come more easy to you when you're around other people, or do you tend to prefer writing by yourself?
I like being around other people.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I love being around other people. Even as
Balance.
then doing music, it's just great to be around people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. So focusing on your single then, you've described it as Scottish Mardi Gras fusion. So
Yeah.
where did that idea come from?
Uh, I think writing it with my friend and my wife Frances, we were just kind of like tapping back into the roots of, what made you want to do music in the first place. And I went back to my childhood of more like Kaylee's and Zydeco's and just watching your mom and dad dance and
Yeah,
not,
because
not really,
yeah, it's such an uplifting song, and I feel like it's definitely one where you want to start moving to it, you know?
nice.
So on the Scottish side of things, what elements did you want to focus on?
I think equally uh, showing that it's one, showing that it's not that big a difference between Cajun French to
Yeah,
Scottish Gaelic. Slightly, I mean, obviously because of the language, but
yeah,
the tempo and the storytelling and the excitement and it's fun. It's like somebody working their 9 to 5 and finally getting off for work and it's Friday or Saturday and they go into the Katie to let loose and let it have it on the side. So I wanted to express that you know being in a Scottish majority of Scottish band that that it's pretty similar,
Yeah, definitely.
Everybody's bringing their own thing to everybody's bringing their own flavor to the song. The musicians that played on it, they all
Yeah.
bring their own style to it.
Do you ever find that those styles clash, or do they tend to just sort of work themselves out as you're trying different things?
But they clash probably like 90% of the time. They clash all the time, yeah.
Yeah.
But that's the best part of it.
Yeah.
It's not to just get it done as quick as possible. Sometimes it takes like 2 or 3 years to get it done, but
Yeah.
it's worth it when you finally get it, you know.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. So how did you begin to write this new single? Did you start with lyrics or a rhythm, a melody, a certain instrument?
But it started with just playing the guitar, just playing,
Hmm.
trying some different bar chords out, and just loving the rhythm and finding the melody. Just kind of, walking on the street, just kind of letting it come. Uh, I think it's the travel getting to the studio also takes me about 30 minutes to get to the studio. And sometimes I don't have any words yet, but I have a rhythm. So by the time you get there, it's something that my friend would say, maybe try out this. And then I feel like that phrase kind of fits him. But I would have never thought about that without the journey of getting to the studio.
So you find that moving around helps you to figure out a new song more than
Yeah,
staying in one place.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I don't know. I think it's just a journey of like just being open to the way somebody is saying something on the train, just not really looking for it, but by the time you get to the place that you're going to be creating, and it just it flows. It doesn't happen all the time like that. This specific
Yeah,
reason that it happened that way, it just
yeah,
like, oh, okay, light bulb, this might
yeah.
work.
And it
Yeah,
clicks. Yeah,
yeah, it clicks. Yeah.
yeah. So how did this particular song change from the initial idea to the finished version that we're all hearing?
Uh, this is probably one of the last songs that we recorded. Uh, so what changed about it? It was really, really stripped back, and it was just acoustic guitar at first. And then my drummer, Asim, came in, and he was playing like a Bollywood type of drum pattern. Well, I thought it was, and he was like, "No, it's not Bollywood. It's more like Afro beats." And I was like, "Oh, okay." But I would have never thought about the pattern until he played it on an accident. It was just like a warm up that he was doing,
Yeah,
and I was like, "We should keep that." And he
yeah,
couldn't figure out what I was talking about because he just does it all the time, never using the idea.
yeah.
So we end up going with that pattern, and then that shaped the whole song of the style of the song and how.
I bet the style of music that you do is very individual, and I bet that because it's so many different genres, so many different beats that a lot of the time do happy accidents happen. Do you get that quite a lot?
Yes, I get it
Yeah,
quite a lot. Yeah, because you have to be so present in the room because everybody's trying to get their job done. Everybody's trying to get their part done. And if you're lingering and to try to get your part done and can't really find the magic in the room to put the pieces together. So
so
try
what
to, oh, great.
what do you do if that happens then, if you're in the studio and things sort of go on too much? How do you kind of reset and try and find some focus again?
We usually stop. I have a great producer, Chris, by the way. So it's between me and him. We kind of, in some ways, know we already know when it's already stripped back that when other musicians come in, we're kind of looking for a specific thing.
Hmm.
And usually it doesn't go overboard. Usually we find something else that we were never thinking about, that person is bringing to that situation. And then we're just like, oh, maybe we should go with that idea now because the idea we thought sounded great, that person, the way they played, just made it way better. It's something
Yeah,
you can have it in your head the way you want it, and then somebody else can show you without knowing that that actually works.
yeah,
Whatever I was thinking wasn't right or wrong. It's just like that works right now. So let's just go with that.
yeah. So it's having quite an open mind throughout the whole creative process.
Yeah, and looking for the best ideas
Yeah,
when happening. Yeah.
yeah, definitely. So do you feel that then sort of teamwork and listening then is back at the center of all your songwriting, like a sense of, because it feels very much like a sense of community and belonging is at the core of a lot of your songs. Would you agree?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I grew up in a place like both places are like the musicians used to meet at after they did their gigs at like 2 o'clock in the morning, and most of them didn't know each other. So they
Yeah.
would have to figure it out on the stage, and that became like jazz. That became
Yeah.
different things like that. So I still have that thing in me, and still folk musicians do the same thing too. So it's
Yeah.
just doing that in the studio and finding what can make the best thing sonically.
Yeah, definitely. So you've blended lots of genres, cultures. Do you find that that instinct comes from that you've moved around a lot
Musically or just in general.
in general?
Not really, no. I think it's always been that way. I think it's always been a fusion. It's just,
Yeah,
yeah, it's never really been slightly
yeah,
different. Yeah, it's just accepting what is great around you and figuring out how to shape it in a way that makes it beautiful to put out into the world instead of forcing something to be one way.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, especially if the world had enough of it already, then
Yeah,
there's no point of me trying to duplicate it and do something that somebody else is already doing.
yeah, exactly. So outside of music, everyday life, just being sort of yourself, do you feel that that's influenced how you create music? Do you think it's changed over time as your life's changed or
Yeah, it definitely changed. Yeah. Yeah, I think the approach is better. I'm a father now, and
yeah,
you have a family and you approach things slightly different than being a musician without a family and you just, stay up all night and just gig all the time. So scheduling is a bit more wiser.
yeah,
Time
definitely.
spent is a bit more thought out. So
Yeah.
yeah. So those things make a lot of things work extremely better, you know,
Yeah.
than just winging it.
Yeah. Do you think with family life and other things getting like, family commitments and things like that, do you think that like family have influenced more of your songs? Do you think that there's more of kind of like like a family centered approach or anything like that that come towards your music?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely, definitely. Yeah. It's because you're surrounded, like I said, you're surrounded by it and it will affect your way of writing and your way of approaching things.
Yeah.
So it definitely changed a lot. Starting with a few songs, a song I put out a few months ago called Believe.
Yeah.
It's just happening to that something that I've done before, but I'm quite it's not I'm quite new as a solo artist, but I've played in a lot of other bands
Yeah.
where it wasn't so much fusion. So this is like my solo version of what I always wanted to do. Uh, so yeah, so the approach to the solo thing, it's like I wanted it to be personal and simplistic, but also fusion. But in a storytelling that might be a bit unorthodox and doesn't
Yeah.
have the same approach there.
So what do you feel are kind of the biggest changes com- comparing to when you've been in bands compared to now going solo?
I think then in bands you have a lot of members. It depends on what
Yeah.
band, but it is different personalities and we all kind of make decisions to what it's going to sound like, and that sound could be like indie rock,
Yeah.
or it could be just funk,
Yeah.
uh, but it's going to be those things, and
Yeah.
you're in that box, and it's great. It's amazing.
Yeah.
But you play your part in that box that people like, and it's a beautiful thing. So that's a huge difference than being a solo artist and finding the musicians to get that sound. Uh,
Yeah.
and staying in the studio, 12 to 13 hours to try to get that thing. It's more like your baby in some ways, you know, you
Yeah.
yeah. So that's the difference.
So obviously you've kind of suggested that you get a lot more freedom with being a solo artist, you know, freedom to choose kind of your musicians or your direction. Do you ever feel that there's too much choice, that you're overwhelmed with what direction you want to follow, or do you feel like you've set yourself quite a clear path on which way you want to go
As a solo artist, art
as a as yeah as a solo artist?
um I don't know. I never really think about it like that actually, you know, because it's still a new approach.
Yeah,
So it's only been a few singles out.
yeah,
So it's still defining itself even as a songwriter. And I
yeah,
love it because it's a very therapeutic way of being, you know.
yeah,
I hope
definitely.
that somebody else can find something in it instead of try to make it force it to be commercial or to be something that is actually I want to let it actually grow,
Yeah,
you
see
know.
where it takes you.
Yeah, I want to actually let it grow because it's
Yeah,
still early stages.
yeah, exactly. So what do you see in your future? What are we to expect from you?
Well, I just finished my first album, so that's the main goal
Yeah,
was to learn what's the best way of releasing an album, what's the best way of touring as a solo artist, what's the best way of doing all these things, and just understanding it a bit more. And then it goes back to the question you asked before, that I have a better understanding on what the music will sound like in the future. And
yeah,
so, so just figuring out all those things, and it's a great process. You know, it's a great thing. It's the ups and downs, but it's such a beautiful thing because you don't try it, you really won't know how
exactly.
to actually.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So do we see this kind of this testing within your album? Do we see a variety of different approaches that you've taken?
Well, this approach I'm taking right now is based off my daughter. Her name is Gaia. So
Hmm.
my approach to this particular album was a bit more personal.
Yeah,
It was more from a not really thinking about a genre, not because I
yeah,
don't need to, but it was more about the songs. Some of the lyrics came first, like poetry is what I said earlier.
hmm,
And then the music kind of guides the poetry
yeah,
instead of making the music and then kind of forcing the poetry on it to be something that that is it's not really, you know. It's like the music is driving it. Then,
yeah,
like I said, I've done those things before to let the music drive it, and it's great. It's just for this approach, I kind of wanted to let the poetry drive it
yeah,
and let
definitely.
the music sit under it
So would you want listeners to focus more then on the words than the music itself?
always.
Yeah,
Yeah,
always.
yeah.
Would you say that your daughter, she's your main inspiration behind most of your songs, would you say?
This album, yeah, definitely.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. My family in general and friends also, but obviously my daughter, her name just happened to be like the Greek goddess. So it kind of those two things kind of tie themselves into each other. Actually, just like love being in nature and writing songs for my 10-year-old daughter, where she's at this place now where we can talk about, you know, how this makes you feel, or help me with lyrics. And so it's a thing, something that I've never been through before. Obviously, it's my first daughter,
Yeah.
so that's why I'm learning how to approach songwriting in a simplistic way for me as an adult, but also looking at the kid and
Yeah.
in me. So it's a different approach to watching it grow. That's what makes it
Yeah.
beautiful.
Definitely. Well, it's interesting, isn't it, seeing how music affects and like how children interpret music versus adults.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And does has Gaia listened to the album? Does she approve?
Oh yeah, yeah. She knows every single word. You
Oh,
know.
does she?
Yeah,
Brilliant.
she knows every single
Oh,
word. So,
great. Well, I'm really glad she's enjoyed it.
yeah. So it's really a beautiful thing. Even watching playing with my niece and my nephews, playing it for them, and then going out and playing it for people at festivals and at different shows.
Yeah,
It's it's I always wanted it to be universal, you know,
definitely.
but do it from a place that's not I guess I'm using the word force a lot, forcing it to be universal. Just kind of
Yeah,
let actually writing from a place of I don't know, some kind of innocence and
Yeah.
yeah,
I think a lot of people's music comes from early age, from childhood. So
yeah,
I think it's quite interesting to see kind of like the untouched view that children have towards music, and I think it's very interesting to see how your daughter has influenced and impacted your music. It's definitely a powerful thing.
yeah. And I mean, hugely, my wife is hugely impact my music too.
Yeah,
My brothers, my sisters, but I'm just starting with my daughter because
yeah,
that's the person that that uh doesn't react to a lot of things when she don't want to, but when she does, it's like, oh wow, what's that, Dad? You know,
yeah, yeah,
so it's quite
yeah,
interesting. Yeah,
yeah. I bet it is, and obviously, as a father, you know, children can come up with all sorts of things, I presume. And it's just interesting to see, as you said, how they react to certain things, you know, both in life. And I suppose, obviously, as you said, you know, walk into your studio and kind of taking in inspiration from just the world around you.
yeah,
It is quite different to see it through the eyes of a child as well. So it's definitely a very interesting and like unique perspective to take on music and songwriting, definitely.
yeah. I learned how not to be not try how not to try to be right all the time. If
Yeah,
that makes sense. It was sometimes trying to be right all the time, you can kind of block the energy or just the information that you need to create that song or say something that maybe hadn't been said before or hadn't been said lately. I think just being open to just a wee bit to like a kid or older person or somebody that you probably hadn't talked to in a long time or just some stranger that you met just walking down the street. I think just being open to that.
yeah,
I think some artists and even myself, I've done it loads of times. We can be so have so much of an ego or so much of like this is the way it's going to be and it has to be this way and that's great. But for this album and this journey that I'm on, I'm trying not to do that and be a bit more open and to say, you know what, I was thinking that this was right, but like I said earlier, but getting to this place and this person did that, that just changed my whole perception of like I would have never thought of that, you know.
yeah,
But
yeah.
so yeah,
Well,
just things.
yeah, it's definitely it's quite interesting to see how children sort of jump into things without a fear and you know try new things and take things with open arms. And I think that definitely, you know, the trial and error that you're and this journey that you're taking with your music definitely reflects kind of some of the themes that we see from children and the way that they grow up.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, thank you very much for talking to me today. Really appreciate it. It's been a real pleasure.
Oh, thank you for having me. I really
Thank
appreciate
you
it.
very much. And congratulations on your new single and the album to come.
Thank you.